movies and toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joes podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Hello, everybody.
I always expect everybody to answer. I kind of wait, like someone's going to say something.
The TV season is sort of in a transition, so we're going to talk about that. As things are coming back and new things will start picking up, so we'll talk about that. We'll do some other stuff. Follow us on like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. All that stuff helps all the time. Is your shirt made out of velour? It looks very velour-like.
No,
here,
Dave.
Todd.
This is the red version of the regular Joe shirt you gave us.
Oh,
I bought it in every
funny.
color they make. But it's very
cold
red.
for you,
But
is
it's got like a pattern on it, which makes it look velour.
Oh yeah, now I see
yeah.
it. That's
It's got
interesting.
like a kind of fake heather pattern. So
Yeah. That's why I didn't pick the black, because it didn't look black at all. That's why the gray was sort of better. That's not interesting to any of you, but we only make apparel for ourselves. We still have T-shirts.
If you're wondering what regular Joe shirt,
We do have T-shirts.
Yeah.
I think we have some larges and extra larges. Yeah. Someone who's an extra large, tag us on Instagram and I'll send you one.
Okay.
Say shirt up.
Yeah, shirt up. Good.
Shirt up if you're an extra large or a large. That's all I got.
Yep.
And I will I'll send you out one. Let's go random so I don't have to ramble anymore. I've got one that I'm curious if anyone else has. I'd like to discuss, but I'm not going to go first because I'll take the chance that someone else may have it too.
Well, I'll go first, and I know nobody else has this one.
It's about stormtroopers.
It's not about stormtroopers. Okay. This Friday night, if you're a basketball fan, this Friday night, the New York Knicks are doing... What, did you have this, Todd?
No, I'm like, boy, that was a safe bet.
Ad, and I could not care less. But
no, this is great. My favorite thing about this ad is I'll get to it. So the New York Knicks are having Star Wars night at Madison Square Garden this Friday night. So as the show drops, I'm going to read you the ad that they put on Twitter, and you tell me what's wrong. One of these things is not like the other. Take the Kessel Run to Star Wars night, the Rise of the Garden. Fans who make the trip in 12 parsecs can get a limited edition Star Wars The Rise of the Garden poster when your Jedi Knicks battle the First Order Toronto Raptors. Hit Warp Speed here for tickets.
Warp Speed.
They can't even get that right.
Ouch. Oh my God, that's awesome.
And the poster that you get is actually a poster of the top of Madison Square Garden with the Millennium Falcon landed on it. And it's the Falcon with the rectangular radar dish. It's not even the right Falcon. So, anyway.
Unless Daisy Ridley sat on my lap during the game, there's nothing that could get me to go.
Warp Speed is... like, it's one word off. Light Speed is a Star Wars thing. Warp Speed is a Star Trek thing.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yep.
And now, I used to work for the family that owns the Knicks and Madison Square Garden, and I don't work for them anymore, so I have no problem saying that they completely messed that up. Anyway.
It's like, that's going to get people to go see games?
The Rise of the Garden.
Crazy.
Yeah, great. Who cares?
Yeah.
I just sent you guys a picture just so you know what I'm talking about. Todd, what do you got?
Okay. So, a few days ago, a trailer came out for a new Mark Wahlberg series on Netflix, which is coming out. I'm trying to see the date here. Anyways, it's called Spencer Confidential. So it's based on the Spencer series of books by Robert B. Parker.
Because he has a Boston accent? Is that why they picked him?
Kind of famously, I mean, as represented in Spencer for Hire, Robert Urich played him for several seasons on TV. So I read the premise of this, and I watched the trailer, and I was honestly like, what the... So kind of seems like it's in Boston, and there's a guy named Spencer. Okay, but there's 40 some odd books about this character. Okay, and in none of them is he a former police officer who gets released from prison. Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, really?
And it's like,
And owns a.
There's a guy
hamburger
named
store.
Hawk in here too, who's an MMA fighter now, and
Oh my God.
yeah, just not good. So, anyways,
How could they? Like you said, there's so much source material. How could they
I don't know.
do that?
I just don't.
Wasn't
know.
there
Is
another
Mark
Spencer
Wahlberg a
some
producer
movies?
or something on it? Like, did they give him too much freedom with it, or?
I have no idea. Yeah, there was a made-for-TV series of movies
like
also.
Joe
that-
Montagna
Yes,
or
exactly.
something like that?
Exactly. Who also didn't seem to fit the part, but
Didn't he drive a Ford Probe?
yeah,
And I think he did at one point. I had a Ford Probe when they came out.
I did too.
it-
Turn your head and cough.
You
It's a
did?
Ford Probe. Yeah. I had a red one briefly, but
I had the first one that came out. It was 110 horsepower.
you know what the Ford Probe was supposed to be?
The new Mustang.
Yes, and then they basically at the last minute said, "No effing way are we going to make a front-wheel drive Mustang."
If you use that body and put a 5-liter engine in it, you got something. 'Cause
Yeah,
that was a
you-
good-looking car.
It was a
In
good-looking
19
car.
I'm looking up
and-
pictures of it
89.
now because I have no frame of reference.
Yeah, and it was. Yeah,
Look
again,
up the
I
89.
I
They
had
changed
one,
it.
and during a financial reshuffling at my life at one point. Anyways,
I bought it. I had it new. I had to bought a new one when it came out.
yeah, and so, but yeah, again, it wasn't a bad car. So, just a kind of generic car. It was a Mazda,
that was-
a Ford. It was a Ford Mazda thing, right?
I don't remember the model. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think it
there's
was
a Mazda
model.
connection in there. So,
It looks
But
like
if they-
yeah.
if
oh,
it was-
it's built on a 626 platform.
That's right. Now that you
So,
say that,
so
that's right. But
boy, are we in a rat hole now?
we're
okay.
going into a rabbit hole. If anyone else had a Ford Probe, I'll send you a T-shirt.
Yep.
That reminds me of the Plymouth Laser, I had,
anyways,
which was also
so
the Eagle
Laser
Talon
it was the Eclipse,
and the Mitsubishi
the
Eclipse.
Laser,
yes.
and the Probe. They're all very similar.
Yeah.
and the,
But
and
I'm
the
telling
Eagle
you, if
Talon.
that was
Yep.
real rear-wheel drive and with a big engine, that would have been a pretty awesome car.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyways,
Enough of that.
so I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, where did they come from with this idea? And then I realized it's like this field around Mark Wahlberg. This is like Planet of the Apes. Okay, we're going to adapt it, but we're just going to throw away key elements and make it something else entirely, and see how it works out.
Transformers.
It's a Transformer.
Transformers.
We should be thankful that they never did the $6 billion man movie.
We should be very, very thankful of that.
That I almost could see him in if he did the right. Mark Wahlberg has not been in. There's been some things I happen to like. The
Boogie
Italian
Nights.
Job.
The Departed.
Yeah, there's other stuff.
Boogie Nights
he's
with
good in.
Roller
There's
Girl.
just some stuff he's not good in. I mean, or not suited for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll go. Okay. I guess there's a picture that was released from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, with Wyatt Russell, who's Kurt
Yeah.
Russell and Goldie Hawn's son, dressed up in a Captain America uniform with a shield.
Wyatt Russell is the captain, or is what's his a U.S. agent? Okay, so this is a little complicated, but when Captain America, at one point, Captain America had his basically identity taken away by the U.S. government, who apparently still owned it, and he became the captain, and he wore a slightly different outfit. That was very, very brief, and then that identity was taken over by a guy named U.S. Agent, who was, I think, a former SHIELD agent, whatever like that, when Captain America went back to being Captain America. So they've gone on a different track.
I think they
than
did
that.
mention that's sort of what's supposed to be
But
going on
that is who
here.
this character is U.S. Agent. So he's kind of like a government-run version of Captain America, or at least has been in the most recent versions.
That all sounds horrible.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
that
no, but I
worries
mean, that's
me.
the whole idea. He's kind of like the corporate stooge, U.S. government stooge version of Captain America, as most recently represented.
So the question is, when does this? I mean, I feel like this. Hearing this, I feel like this takes place in sort of current time.
Oh yeah,
where
no, this
Captain
is, and I
America-
think the idea they're going with is they don't want Falcon to be the next Captain America, and that this is the guy they're pushing instead. So we'll see. I think that could be interesting. Wyatt
It could
Russell's,
be interesting
Wyatt
if they're like,
Russell's really
"Hey, here's
good.
Captain
He was in-
America."
I've seen him in funny stuff. I've seen him in serious stuff. He's a good actor in his own right. He was in Lodge 49 for 2 seasons, which was a lot of fun, and he was also in one of the Black Mirror episodes, a pretty good one of those, and so yeah.
So it's interesting. We'll see. So they're filming that now. They are
Yes.
currently filming. So I think we're supposed to see that in 2020. So hopefully we'll see that in 2020.
That's good, because right now there's nothing on Disney Plus to watch.
No, and
Yeah.
and the Hawkeye series is on hold apparently. So,
Oh,
yep.
interesting.
So
Yeah, I haven't watched anything. I mean, I watched one episode of the Imagineering story. I just haven't dug into anything else, but I'm sure there's other stuff.
I've watched 4 episodes of that, and I really like them, and I will finish them. Yeah, but it feels like as far as original programming goes, there isn't much. So
Yeah, interesting. Does anyone else have other random?
yeah, just as a juxtaposition to that, I just read this today, and I thought it was interesting. They announced officially that Netflix is going to spend $17.3 billion on original content in 2020,
I
which is
saw that.
up
That's quite a lot.
from 15.3 in 2019. So you
In that
talk about having
17
original programming on your streaming service. That's how you do it. You spend a shit ton of money.
Yeah, but you want to know something? 16 billion of it is like unwatchable. There's so much stuff that you just wouldn't
there's
watch.
so much
on
stuff,
there.
but it's also unwatchable to you. It's something you're not interested in. I will say there's a lot of things on there that are co-produced with other companies in other countries. So like they're doing a lot of stuff with like British production companies and things like that, so that they're basically buying U.S. rights to things. So it looks like there's a whole lot of content being dumped, but they're not paying full freight for it, which is smart.
Well, then that just means that they're spreading that money out to even more stuff. 17 billion?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Why aren't they
That's
paying
more
us?
than
throw
most
us
other
the
networks
0.3
combined.
and put this on
I could
weekly
get by on 3 of those
video.
billion. So
I'm just saying, we'll film this and send it to you. Just give us the 0.3 billion.
that's right. Yep.
That's a
It's a
weekly
rounding error
show.
for
This
them.
is weekly.
It truly
weekly
would be.
gold.
Wasn't there a movie like that where they just skimmed the pennies off the back and thought that they would, it's Office Space?
I was actually
actually the
thinking
plot
about
of,
Office
like,
Space,
Superman
and it's
4.
Superman
What was the-
4.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the plot of a bunch of movies.
The one with Richard Pryor.
Yeah, it was probably 3, but yeah. Anyways, no.
We'll take 100,000 a week.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can make
That's
that
not
work.
a
We'll
problem.
find a way to make it work.
yep.
Yeah, we can make that work.
So.
Okay, the other thing, Todd, before the show, asked me about Disney World. A friend of mine went to Disney World this past weekend. So I think she was left on Wednesday and came back yesterday.
And this was opening weekend for Rise of the Resistance down there, right?
I think it opened in December. It opened
Oh, I'm thinking about
in
California.
LA this weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
So
right. You're right.
When I was going, or when we were going to LA, and the Millennium Falcon ride had just opened in LA, the beginning month was you had to make reservations, and then the whole idea was, in the morning they're gonna, if there is a crowd, they're gonna start this thing called boarding parties. So if you, as soon as you're in the park, you could sign up to be on a boarding party, and then they'll call like boarding parties 1 to 4, 4 to 8. And in the sort of month and a half I paid attention to that before I went, there was like one day that they had to use boarding parties. Otherwise, it was okay. So they go down there. Rise of the Resistance is open, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, a month or whatever. She said they got people were getting to the park at 4 a.m. There were people scanning them in to get, and by 4:15, every boarding party was taken already for the Rise of the Resistance ride. She was there for 4 days, could not get in, and did not want to show up at the park at 4 in the morning to do it. So it's pretty crazy down there for this, which is interesting.
Yet there's still a bunch of media reports about it being like, underattended.
In California.
Yeah.
I think Florida's a whole other
Is that right?
ball game. Yeah.
But I was like, I was thinking of going in April, but if it's still going to be like that, that'll suck. Like, to go down there and not be able to get on that ride. And there was no single rider only. She was like, the boarding party list was fill up first thing in the morning, every day. Kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
Well, I think part of the hype is that they're saying it's the most technologically advanced ride Disney's ever done, one of the longest rides they've ever done. So I think that there's a lot of hype around that.
Yeah,
it's like a 15 or 18 minute experience. It's not just like a 5-minute ride.
Yeah, and that's throwing a couple switches in the back seat of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
So interesting. But if anyone's gone, let us know. What's the story? LA opened, I think, second, so we'll see what's going on with that. Let's talk about Fanboy Collectibles. Now,
Yeah,
Todd, I know you like the Batman animated series, but there is a Batman Beyond Hot Toys figure, which is interesting. They haven't done a ton of things based on animated stuff.
Yeah, this is actually not. This is from the video game.
Oh, okay.
I love Batman Beyond. That's one of my favorite. That's probably my second favorite Batman series. And but this is based on the video game version of that, who's a very different character.
Interesting. So there's that. Guess what else there is? Pops and Sideshow and Kotobukias and statues and all kinds of stuff. Barry's not frozen.
No. I'm looking at Fanboy's site, looking at all the cool stuff.
Oh, okay. So check all that stuff out, fanboycollectibles.com. Tell them the Regular Joes sent you. Oh, go to their store in Newtown, Connecticut. So we're going to talk about... So Crisis on Infinite Earths started in December, took a break for 3 weeks, and then just wrapped up last week. 5 episodes.
Yeah, I thought after 3 episodes they just died of embarrassment and weren't coming back. But no, they came back in January.
Let me tell you something. The 4th episode was unintelligible. I had no idea what was going on. I started saying this, but I was so hesitant to even watch the 5th one, and I didn't watch it until last night. It wasn't as bad as I was thinking it was going to be. The story just went nowhere, but there were some cool things in it, I think.
Yeah, there were. And I got to say, I liked it better than the two of you did. I think this was an almost impossible task to undertake. There's way, way too many characters crammed into this. There's, at one point, the perfect example of this was like Black Lightning, who like showed up and was like, "Why am I here? What am I doing here?" And then later at Oliver's like wake, he's like, "Well, I didn't really know the guy, but he seemed like a nice guy." It was like they just didn't know what to do with him.
Even like in the last episode, like that Nia Nal shows up. You haven't seen her for 4 episodes. She shows up all of a sudden. She's in her little outfit fighting somebody.
She was dead previously, so she was busy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it
felt like it was too much.
Black Lightning's whole purpose is to stand somewhere and at some point say, "I'm Black Lightning."
Yeah,
because that's all I ever see him do.
Yeah. Well, again, it's
they've had a lot of characters in other crossovers. There were more in this, but the writing was just horrible.
Okay. So
I don't think it was just the writing. I think it's a combination of things. There are too many characters.
Reread Crisis on Infinite Earths, okay? And there are pages and pages of panels of people just standing around because, likewise, they had so many people crammed into the story, they did not know what to do with them. Okay,
but Todd, one of the things that they've done so well on up until this point, it feels like, even with the crossovers, but just in general on the DC shows, is like not make the same mistakes they make in the comic books all the time. Like if you
Except
did
that,
a
like I
comic
said,
book and
this-
you realize that there were too many people standing around, don't replicate that on TV.
They were going to go all in on this one, and they did. They will never try to do this again. They also never need to. I think they knew in last year's Crisis, they left the Legends out of it because, like I said, they'd already figured out that there were too many characters crammed in there for what they were trying to do. This one, everyone went in. Then everyone who'd ever been in went in, and it was really just it was a lot of fan service.
For
if you
fans
didn't
of
know
what? Fans
who
of
the
bad
Spectre
writing
is,
and boring.
if you
TV?
didn't know who the Spectre is, the Oliver Queen thing made no sense whatsoever. They barely explained that.
I would think that they do enough market research to know who their audience is, and if this was really catered towards their audience, then I might not be their audience.
Well, but the thing is, Barry, it's not exclusively catered towards their audience, but there was something there for. I mean, it's the same thing as saying like a Star Wars movie has got all this fan service stuff in it, and this is the thing. I probably picked out I probably caught 95% of the things embedded in there, but they did go all out. Everything they possibly wanted to cram in there, including the kitchen sink, they crammed into there.
But they crammed stuff in. But the story was just horrible. Episode 4 was like the low point.
And I also feel and I've never had this complaint really before. I don't think the effects were even up to their typical standards in a lot of the sequences.
No.
Yeah, I think they never got far beyond the TV budget on this, and I think that show, or CW TV budget, and I think that was pretty evident in some of the things.
But if you're going to take on something this ambitious, look, I get it, I do get it, but it fell flat for me. Where all the other crossovers, I've never watched most of these other shows, so that to me isn't the barrier to entry. I watched the crossovers knowing that I don't understand all the backstories, but the story they were telling was just hard to really follow in a lot of places, and that's never been a problem.
Watch every series,
and that's never been a problem before.
Watching every series and knowing all the backstory behind it, it was still hard for me to follow. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying this is by any means a success. I'm looking at this from the standpoint of I appreciate what they tried to do, and I'm not saying they pulled it off. I'm saying, but they went absolutely all in on this, and again, there was homage to characters we never thought we were going to see again. Some we only saw for a moment, but this was a tribute to 50 years of live action DC,
but I think they did that at the expense of telling a cohesive story. It's like, let's get this.
I agree.
Okay,
entirely.
what's going to make this episode? Put this in, and what's the story? Don't worry about that.
Yeah, but again,
we'll fix it in post.
Again, there were things that I very much appreciated. I loved Marv Wolfman going up to get their autographs. I thought that was great.
I figured that's who that was. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean, it was a lot of forced stuff.
Oh no, there's no question. I will say, I think what they did was smart, combining those Earths. They were separate because Supergirl was on CBS to begin with. Getting them in the same world, doing it the way they did in the comic, I think that makes sense. I don't know if you caught this, Dave, but the Doom Patrol and Titans are in two different worlds. So one of the Titans came from Doom Patrol.
Oh, really?
So
are there still how many worlds are there? Are there like 5 worlds?
What's that?
Are there 5 worlds still?
Oh, there's way more worlds. We only saw.
No, I'm saying now at the end of this.
So the multiverse is mostly restored, but a little bit not.
Okay, that's what I figured, because there's Prime, and then they showed a couple of
different. But that means if there was 100 before, there's like 80 now. They didn't get rid of most of them.
But what I'm saying is so in Titans, Beast Boy came from the Doom Patrol, okay, in the first season. Well, now the Doom Patrol is on one world and Titans are on another, which means there's probably a Doom Patrol on the Titans world, which also explains why they have a different chief. But I found that interesting. I got to say, I loved the little shot with Brandon Ruth doing the little planet flyover back on, at the end. I, as you said, I would much rather see a Superman series with him as a Superman than what we're going to get. But it was cool seeing him step back into that, and it was neat. I thought it was that little thing, which was a direct homage to the end of Superman and then the end of Superman Returns. So,
yeah, and while I thought it was a little forced, I did enjoy seeing the Hall of Justice. I thought that was kind of cool, even though it was kind of like, oh, you just happen to have a building shaped just like the Hall of Justice.
But they did that years ago in the first, and it was a Star Laboratories warehouse. It was something they bought at like a closeout sale.
Yeah.
And so now they're actually going to use it.
And then, of course, having Gleek in there was the highlight.
Yeah, which my kids, of course, had no idea what that was. But
nobody does.
I thought that was fun.
But yeah, it's but now we can prepare ourselves for a live action Gleek.
You know what, though? The one thing that really bothered me about the 5th episode, they restore the Earth, and Barry Allen comes back, and what would the first thing he would normally do be? Go see Iris.
Go looking for Iris. Nope, just hanging out.
She wasn't even there.
Yeah, no, I know. There was a bunch of stuff like that.
I don't even... So, how'd they restore it? Oliver beat up the anti-monitor, but he wasn't dead, so they brought him back.
You're not really expecting me to explain that to you, right?
I mean, it's just...
All I know is that all of them, and I forget what they called them, but the pinnacles or the whatever
something like that.
Yeah, none of them had anything to do with Paragons. Thank you. The Paragons stood around and did nothing while, I would have thought that they would have kept them alive and had them survive for some. They would have had to participate in the restoration somehow, and they just stood there.
Yeah,
it just didn't make sense. And then they had that sort of Buffy style fighting where these demons flying around. If you hit them with a stick, they disappear. You kick them, they disappear. You shoot them with your laser vision, they disappear.
Are we ripping on Buffy here? Okay.
No, I'm saying, but Buffy used to kick vampires and they'd disintegrate or something.
Yeah, well, it can happen.
That's what they did here, which was like, how lame is that?
Yeah. So
it was pretty bad.
I know I texted you guys. I think I could use this as a jumping off point and just give up on all this, and I wouldn't.
Even Flash.
It's all bad. It certainly didn't. I was looking forward to being re-energized about this stuff.
And Flash is the only one I watch at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
walk away from it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can. Go back. I can't go to Legends.
There's an episode of Arrow next week, which is the last episode, which is. That's got to be pretty gloomy. But I think...
Wait. Aren't they introducing Arrow and the Black Canaries in the future? I thought that's what the series is going to be.
That's probably what we're going to see at the end of the next episode. But I think Felicity is back in this last episode.
Felicity shows up.
Yeah.
She should just not show up. Felicity don't show up.
Yeah. So it's... I mean, we'll see. Yeah.
It's not good.
It is what it is.
Not great.
I'll keep watching Supergirl, and I'll probably keep watching Batwoman for a while.
So. I'm watching both of them reluctantly.
Yeah.
Flash is Flash back on, or is it not? Is it done for the season? I hope no.
No,
it's not.
I think it's got a whole second half of a season to go.
Oh, where are they going?
I'll tell you,
that?
every single one of these shows would benefit from 8-episode arcs.
Absolutely.
I was even thinking from a crossover perspective, if they did smaller crossovers with fewer characters and maybe did 2 or 3 a season.
Right. Oh yeah, that's
might
what I'm
be
saying.
way better.
Yep, and that's what I'm saying. But boy, it's always going to be 24 episodes, and you're always going to fight the bad guy in the last episode. It's just you're going to defeat the bad guy in the last episode.
All right. When the giant stuffed animal started walking down the street, I mean, I get that that's a reference to something that I don't understand, but that was the
okay.
That was
as
the last
stupid
straw.
as what you saw. That's the reference.
Bebo is like a is like the equivalent of it's like
Barney.
a 90s toy that everybody had, okay? And in essentially like the Ghostbusters moment where you pick the least threatening thing possible, okay? They did a thing like this, and so basically Bebo appeared, this gigantic Bebo, and then fought this huge demon monster. It was hilarious. It was just like
but it made absolutely
Sounds like
no
the
sense
Stay Puft
to bring it
Marshmallow
back
scene
with this
only works.
magician
That's what
guy.
I'm saying. It was very much
Yeah.
like the Stay Puft Marshmallow thing, and I think they even said, "Couldn't you have just pictured a Marshmallow Man?" It's
Yeah.
like, and so yeah.
So in context, it was cool. Out of context, for me, having not known that backstory, I was just like,
Yeah,
It wasn't
I mean,
cool
it was an
No.
illusion, anyways, of a giant toy walking down the street. So, yeah, that was
On Flash, is Dr. Suresh dead or alive, or is that story over with?
God, I hope so. I
I
hope
If
can't
they
even
go back
remember.
to that, I really don't think I could do it. That was just not interesting. It just dragged on forever,
well,
and
here
it's only
the
been
whole
half
but
a season.
the whole symmetry there was Barry dying, right? And he's dying now. Barry's not dying, so maybe they can give us something different for the rest of the season.
I mean, that was a running thing in Flash for how many seasons now that Barry knew
Right.
he died on that date, and that didn't happen now. So
And then they moved the date up.
yeah,
I would like to. I think I will stick with Flash for a little while because, so he has always been kind of like the junior partner to Oliver, and I think it'll be interesting to see where he's now the hero with the most legs in this world. So, could be interesting. Maybe he's going to be, maybe that'll have an impact on him one way or another. But
they still need better writers, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're.
and for those listeners
All
who
right,
say
enough.
that we always like everything, here you go. Dave and Barry did not like this.
Yeah. Todd didn't either, but he doesn't want to admit it.
I'm
Okay.
I'm not. You don't want to even put this on like a number scale because I'm not. It's not. I'm not going to rate it high, but I will say. There's bits and pieces in here that I liked. I was happy to see, but yeah, I can't defend the whole thing. It's and I don't think anybody can. I will tell you, a lot of people really like this show. I hope they don't try to do something like this again. I truly do.
All right, moving on. Let's go what's in the box and have something that doesn't suck, hopefully.
Yeah.
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Todd, what's in the box?
Okay. For a little while, I've been playing around with VR headsets. I got like this idea in my head where, I mean, there's nothing I hate worse than exercising inside. And so I had this thing in my head, like I could totally ride the spin bike and like be looking at like mountain biking while I was doing it. And this is how I started out playing with this. And then I started doing a bunch of different things with it. And there's some really, really cool games you can play. There's a lot of really cool videos that, you can look 360 degrees with. And so I've been playing a lot with them for a little while now. There's a bunch of different cheap headsets that you can get. Like this B Next thing. You can get, this is only like $39 on Amazon. And this, you slip your smartphone right inside of it. That's not bad. This is a little bit more, and this is a Destix, I guess is the name of the thing. This is a second generation. I had an earlier one of these. You pop the phone in the front. Both of these work pretty well, but they weigh a lot. And it weighs a lot sitting in your face. And I finally
So these aren't
did
playing like the VR games like
Chop sabers and things like that.
yeah.
Saber,
Yep.
Beat Saber, and all
Yep.
that.
Yep. So
They do or they don't.
oh yeah, you can do anything. There's all kinds of games that you can buy for them. So
Okay.
and the best one, the better ones come with a little hand controller.
Yeah.
This is an Oculus Go, okay, which is it's a standalone, no cord, lighter weight version of like the Oculus Rift, which is a ton of money, but has to run off a PC. This is a nice like kind of in between thing. You don't put a phone in this; it's all self-contained. It's got a little hand controller here, which I just basically use to shoot things. And
So that's not as. So there's the Rift.
Yep.
There's the Quest, I think.
Quest,
which
yeah.
is
And
expensive.
this is the
less
again
than
this is
that.
the entry level, kind of lower level one. There's a lot of stuff out there for this. These you can get for $150 now. Sometimes on sale. They make a $150 one and a $200 one, which has more memory. I went for the more memory one, but I'm not quite sure why because, but because I don't store that much stuff on it. There's a couple of programs that you can get that you just run on a computer, any computer in your house, where then you can watch any video. It'll stream any video to it, which actually I've done more than I would imagine I would do. It's actually kind of cool, but a lot of kind of cool uses for it. It's a lot of fun. I keep finding different things. It's just sweaty and gross having it in your face when you're riding a spin bike. So, but yeah, it's kind of cool. And this, like I said, is probably maybe half to 3/4 of the weight of sticking your smartphone in a thing that you strap to your face. The other thing is where it's not so much lighter than that. It's not front heavy the way those other ones are when you stick, when you have the phone in the front there, particularly when we have bigger phones. But I've been playing with this for about a week and a half, and like I said, I really like it, and it's cool, just a lot of fun.
I may try one of those out. I was thinking about the Quest, but that's not cheap. That's like $500.
Yeah, they're more, and this is where, like I said, I might ultimately, if I get crazy into gaming or something like that, I might ultimately go that way. But this is still a good, like I said, for $150. There's a lot of things that you can do with it, and it's a good kind of place to start off with. Like I said, and I like it. It's actually, like I said, it's very, very comfortable, takes a long time to charge. That's one of the things, and you got to know that you're turning it completely off. Otherwise, it'll run the battery down sitting on the shelf. But other than that, I really do like it. The controller is much more comfortable than the other ones I played with. And very, 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 very cool. So anyways, Oculus Go, it's been out for about a year and a half now. And but they've come down uniformly $50 in price, and you can sometimes find them in sale a little bit better than that. So that is my thing.
Cool.
So Dave, what do you got?
Barry, why don't you go? I have to go actually grab mine.
Okay, I'll go. This is not something that is nearly as cool as yours, but this is something I picked up around the holidays, and I haven't shown you guys. It's a Walmart exclusive Jabba's Palace playset that comes with two figures,
cool.
Which I didn't want the figures. I wanted this because I want to use it to display with my vintage Star Wars figures.
Sure.
I have not added it to my display yet, and it is modular. It's 3 pieces, so you can just use the main section, or there's these 2 arches that come off.
Yeah.
But it's the painting and the detailing on it is really, really nice.
That's great.
It's made.
It's completely flat, so you can stick it at the back of a display. And
yeah,
is there like a floor piece on it also?
There's a little bit of a floor because this is where you're supposed to hang the hand and carbonite there.
Okay.
But it's got the Tauntaun head and the other beastie head thing from Jabba's Palace. This was, I think, it was like $50. It came with 2 figures. It's been marked down to as low as I think $25 around the holidays, and I think it's back in the 40s on their website now. But the detailing and the painting on it is really, really well done. In the backs of these arches, they've got some details and stuff. Like, they did a good job on it. So I just haven't had a chance to pull all my vintage figures out and figure out a way to work these into the background. But I think that they would look cool. So, this is a vintage collection Jabba's Palace playset that just came out, I guess, this past year.
It's got a kind of generic Star Wars enough look to it, too, that you could probably use that with like 6-inch figures if you wanted to. Just to have
almost.
a backdrop.
I mean, the arches are a little small for that, but I mean, you could certainly use it as a basis for something, like if you wanted to build something up around it, or
just have it behind your figures. That's cool.
Yeah, it's well done. It's definitely well done for the price. So, all right, Dave, what do you got?
Cool. This is a little simple. 2 things. I got these as a gift, but I guess there's this artist that. Not much of an artist, but they take stamps and they put them in these little kind of frames. This happens to be a Canadian Star Wars stamps that they made a couple years ago, and there's one of Rey.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah, I remember those. Yep.
I didn't know about them, so I thought this guy sort of, you get those stamps and you buy the sheets of stamps and you don't know what to do with them, but this guy just makes little simple 3x5s. I guess it's 3x5, 4x6 maybe, and puts them in. And then I also have this one. These are U.S. stamps, but the Batman stamps.
Oh,
and they
that's
kind of
cool.
display nicely in
so
this.
So you bought the frames and you framed them, or you bought
No. Some guy takes the stamps and puts this whole thing together.
Oh yeah, I need to buy that. I have a bunch of those stamps that I've bought, and I just don't know what to do with them. And
well, you could probably do this yourself. I mean, you could just cut out the thing. I actually have a mat cutter that cuts the bevel because you see the bevel.
Oh, interesting.
So, but there's a guy, I think, in Washington is where these came from. But I hadn't seen this. This you'll see the pictures. They're on the website. The round Batman stamp forever is actually very cool.
It is. It is cool.
That.
I had the dog stood on a sheet of those, so it wrinkled. And so I actually used up some of the Batman stamps, including it was very funny putting those on something. The round ones are actually legit stamps. So
yeah, these are forever stamps. But the cool thing, I mean, they're more of about an art piece because they're literally stuck to another piece of mat board.
Yeah, no, that's
so
great.
They're not really. I'm not a stamp collector, but I'd rather see a little framed, Batman stamp. I thought was cool, and the Ray one.
It's funny that you showed that because over the weekend I was doing some cataloging of some stuff that I had found that I forgot I had. And two of the things were, one was my Star Trek stamps that we got at the Star Trek convention a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I have them in an envelope too.
Yeah, and then the other one was the Rush stamps I had bought a couple of years back when Canada issued Rush stamps. And I have complete sheets of those, but I put them in the same kind of a binder that I put my autograph photos in, just because I didn't know what to do with them and I wanted them to stay flat. But that's cool.
Yeah, that's not bad. You can do it yourself pretty easily. So,
I'm going to throw one more thing in if we're done.
Sure.
This is my Ray lightsaber that Brian picked up in California for me and sent out to me. Which thank you, Brian. I sent him on a quest, and he followed. He did it.
He came through, unlike the two of us.
Unlike the two of you who failed. But this is really, really nice. And so this is from Galaxy's Quest.
Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy Quest, yeah. The Galaxy Edge Quest. And this is super heavy, really, really nice. I'm very, very impressed with this. I am not a lightsaber connoisseur like the two of you. I now have one in my collection. But it's cool. It is the one that I wanted. One. And so
let's see down the front. What's up? Oh, is there not a piece that goes in there?
No, there's a blade that goes in there. If you buy the blade.
Yeah.
But sometimes
there's no plug. There's no plug or anything like that.
No, some of them have it. Like my Kylo Ren has a plug, but they don't all have it.
Yeah, because it's shorter. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
you should be able to buy it. I don't think you can, but you should be able to buy the blades online and have them shipped to you. I mean, I think that'd be a horrible thing to have to walk around.
Because you can buy the blades.
You can.
You can buy them separately. Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't think they're that much. $40, $50.
Yeah, they weren't that much.
I don't know if I mean, honestly, I wanted to put it in the case, and I may never ever do that. But now it sits with my blaster that I got last year and my medal, and so it looks very cool. But I'm super pleased with it. Thank you, Brian. Again, I can't believe for the price this thing is awesome.
They do such a great job on those.
Yeah,
I think those things could easily, knowing Disney, and I don't have a problem with Disney, but they're a money machine. Those could have been either crappy and cheap or good and ridiculously priced, but they are right down the middle. A good price and a great product.
Yep.
Honestly, this seems like, this is like if the Wand Company made a phaser. Made a lightsaber the same way they made the phaser. It's all
they're as nice as the master replicas for a third the price at retail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let alone
I looked at a lot of close-up pictures, and they got all the details right, and everything's there. But yeah. Anyway, super pleased with it.
Now that's called Ray's saber.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
What's on the end? How does it connect to her belt or whatever?
D-ring, I think.
D-ring. Yep.
Oh, it does have a D-ring. That's interesting. A different D-ring.
Well, that's the same D-ring that was on it when Luke had it.
he had that end on it. I
Yeah.
gotta look at mine.
Yep.
So,
And they
anyways,
didn't change
you
that.
you guys might pick it apart more, but it looks great to me, and I compared it to
No, I
No,
love
it
those.
does
I
look
have.
great.
and I'm.
I want to get the rays from this movie, the broken in half and put back together one. That's the next one I want to get.
that is.
You need to go down the slippery slope with me, Todd. I have 18 lightsabers. You need to catch up.
Did you just add one?
I just added the Kylo. That's the only one I've added.
Okay, because I was going to say, I was thinking it was 6. Yeah, it was 17.
I had 17 Master Replicas lightsabers.
Yeah.
And I got the Kylo one from Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, 20 is a good
I
number.
only have 9.
Yeah, I'll end up getting another one next time I go. I'll pick out something I don't have.
Yeah, I may have just
Okay.
somehow crossed over 13 Iron Man armors, so I'm not gonna cast aspersions.
People in glass houses aren't throwing stones.
That's right. Yep.
All right, let's go. We're going to talk. We said there's shows coming up in the winter, spring season. Todd's going to go through a list, and we're going to say quickly what we are or not interested in.
Okay. I figured first of all we talk about some like returning stuff and see what you think, because like a few things that I'm looking forward to. Homeland. Be interested to see how they wrap that up.
Yep.
I would too. I watched last season, which was better than the previous season.
I think
Yes.
it's much better. Yeah. And
Yeah, I watched that.
They
that
pulled
comes out.
They really did
this
pull
week.
that out of a terrible nosedive.
Yeah.
The other one is I'm kind of excited to see the next season of Altered Carbon. So
Oh, wow, that's been a while.
it's 2 years, but Anthony Mack is now the lead character because again he changed bodies. So
Anthony, the Falcon.
yeah. So
Oh, I did not know
so
that.
and that's in
So the
February.
dude-
That's in February at some point.
Oh, I'll watch
The
that.
date was just announced, but I think it's like February 20th or something like that. Which, like I said, I'm kind of excited for. Picard, obviously, which is in 2 days. It's going to be a long 2 days. Are either of you going to watch Avenue 5?
I want to try it. That's on my list.
I want to try it too. It's on already.
The first episode just aired.
It started Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen
So-
it yet, but it's on my list. Yeah, I think Curb Your
It's a half
Enthusiasm
an hour.
started again this week too, which I had no idea.
What's that?
Yeah.
Curb
What
Your
started
I know
again?
it's not in our genre, but
They're
Curb Your
back to back.
Enthusiasm came back. Yeah.
Oh yes, yep. This week also Sabrina comes back, which I do still watch, and I've liked it. It's fun. It again for me, like I said, it kind of fits in that Buffy thing where it doesn't take itself too seriously. Outlander's coming back soon. I know it's a chick show, but I
Chick
do
show.
like it is totally is, but I like it.
We didn't say that to him about the other one.
No, well, it again. Okay,
Sabrina's a little girl show.
it's from a man who
Outlander's
watches
an-
Nancy Drew.
A bigger
okay.
girl show.
Okay,
Listen, there's stuff
So,
I watch that you
I'm
guys
watching
tease
Nancy
me about.
Drew
So
still.
when you bring stuff up, I have to go for it because
yeah, okay. I watched the first of the 3 episodes of Dracula on Netflix. That is interesting. It's Stephen Moffat, and it's basically the Sherlock people made it, and
Yeah.
it's very unusual. I'm gonna keep watching it, but
Is there only 3 episodes?
it's only 3 episodes, but they're like an hour and 20 minutes. It's like a Sherlock thing. So
yeah. And it's on Netflix?
it's on Netflix. There's in the first episode, there is a nun character who is just awesome. Okay, she's like this snarky nun who is just like she makes the whole thing worthwhile. You Don't Care. Legends is coming back. That will be back shortly. You mentioned Curb Your
Sweet,
Enthusiasm. Westworld comes back at some point this spring, right?
It's not until I think it's the end of March.
Okay. So
That was confusing as hell. The last one, but
you're not kidding. So yeah, we'll have to see on that. Okay, Outsider. It's a Stephen King thing. with
It's Jason Bateman.
with
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, but also, oh God, what's his name? Krennic.
Right.
Yeah, I can't. You're right. I can't think of his
Oh,
name.
that Mads Mikkelsen.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yes, thank
No.
you, thank you.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
It looks creepy. I wanted to watch it, but I'm like, oh,
It does
I don't
kind
know
of
if I
look
wanna watch
creepy.
Something that creepy.
Speaking of which, Lock and Key. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
on my
so-
list of things to check out.
Coming from Netflix, I've read some of the comics. It's written by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. Very interesting. This is a thing that people are now thinking was impossible to adapt. There was previously a pilot made for Hulu, which they never aired other than the pilot. It was sold as an option for a movie. That lapsed. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. Basically, there's this family of parentless kids who inherit these keys, and each of the keys have a different property to them. Hunters on Amazon. It's basically Al Pacino and some other people, and they're hunting down ex-Nazis.
Oh yeah, Nazi hunters.
Right. That looks like that could be it.
That looked interesting.
That looks like that could be interesting.
And that's on what? Who's that on?
That is on Amazon. Yeah.
That did look interesting.
Yeah, it kind of does. Amazing Stories on Apple TV. Spielberg is headlining that. So,
Oh really?
yeah, so that's March 6th. So I kind of find that interesting. Here's one for you guys you'll both be really excited for. On April 12th, The Walking Dead World Beyond premieres.
Is that a
about
third
that.
series, or is that just the new
Third
name
Yep,
for
series.
it
the
is a
season?
third series.
Oh, Jesus.
It's set 10 years down the road from The Walking Dead. And so it's basically focuses on, I guess, a younger cast of mostly people who've kind of grown up in the wake of that kind of world. So apparently things won't get better anytime soon. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Just that sound you made was great.
Yeah. One of the Showtime series that I really liked that get canceled after 3 seasons was Penny Dreadful, and they've actually have a kind of a sequel series to that comes out in April. That's set in I believe the Penny Dreadful was set before the beginning in the late 19th century. This is in the early 20th century. So, or actually pre-war, anyways. That looks interesting. Snowpiercer. Either of you big on Snowpiercer?
This thing has been in development with TNT for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was like the Alienist. They keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it.
Yeah.
It's finally coming, and it's based on a shitty movie. So I just don't get it.
It was, yeah. One could say that the movie was not a good adaptation of the original story from a comic, but it's, again, I got nothing for that. Graham Mason,
Train
who
in
did
the
Orphan
Snow.
Black, is the showrunner. So I don't know.
Maybe it'll be different.
Yeah.
It does have Jennifer Connelly in it, so there is something redeeming.
That is promising.
Wait, I just perked up. What now?
Yeah,
Jennifer Connelly,
Barry's back in the game.
naked
back
in every
in.
episode,
Yeah.
Let's
even
hope.
though it's
I
on
mean,
TNT.
there needs
Have
to
you
be something
guys
to get me
heard
to
of?
watch it.
Have you guys heard of Resident Alien?
No.
I've heard of Resident Evil, and
Okay.
I've heard of Alien.
Inspired by the comic book series the same name. I do not know that. This new sci-fi series stars Alan Tudyk as an alien who lands on Earth with a mission and winds up trapped in a small town where he takes the face of a local doctor and bides his time before heading back to his home planet by solving murders. Wow. How
my
CBS didn't make this a series. It's like, wow, how this is not like, yeah, okay.
It's just killing time till the Cassian Andor series starts
Yeah.
filming, it sounds like.
Yep.
What's that on? That's on
That is
something?
on Sci-Fi. Yep.
Yeesh.
So, Falcon and the
good, so maybe
Snowman.
it could be funny. I
Falcon
don't
and
know.
the Snowman. I can't believe I just did that.
I said that too before.
Well, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, still no release date, but we're really hoping summer. I'm trying to think if there's any WandaVision after that. But then now here's one other one that it's expected in the summer. FX is going to release Y the Last Man. Okay, which the comic was really, really good for a long time. It didn't end spectacularly, but basically the premise is there's a worldwide pandemic and every male dies except one. And it's a very interesting story.
And he's really tired all the time.
And he's really tired all the time. And so
it's supposed to be a great comic. I've never read it, but I know a lot of people rave about it.
Screen rights were sold, and then somebody else is going to make the series. And this thing has been kicking around for about 20 years. And so it could, like I said, we should see. I think it's going to be probably, a large female cast. So, and I think that's it. That's what I've got. But
Barry, did you have anything that he didn't cover?
He touched on just about everything, and you've got your Sabrina, you've got your Nancy Drew. I've got my season 40 of Survivor, which is
okay.
For the first time ever, they're bringing back 20 people that have already won to go head to head against each other.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they've upped the prize for the season to $2 million, so should be interesting.
Now, how is this season 40? Is there like 2 seasons a year or something?
They do 2 seasons a year, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I kept hearing like season 36, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
No, and this is one of the shows that it's probably the only show that all 5 of the members of my family watch together. So like I like that just because it's the one time a week for the 12 weeks or 15 weeks, whatever it is, that we actually all sit and watch a show together. So,
Yeah.
I like the show, but I like the family time. But yeah, season 40.
Yeah, interesting.
You didn't watch The Mandalorian together?
It's kind of
4 of us did, but not 5 of us.
Does it?
It's getting the 5th one in there.
Does what a season is matter anymore, other than like on network TV with a regular? Because it seems to me like we're getting season 2 of Altered Carbon 2 years after the original. We're getting this.
Yeah, but that's true about. Look at how long we waited between seasons of Sopranos back in the day.
Yeah, that's
Game
what
of
I'm
Thrones
saying.
was
It's like
18 months at one point.
The Sabrina, they don't call them seasons; they call them chapters, and so it's like 8 episodes, and they've been like more like 9 months apart than a year apart. So
yeah, that's definitely been tighter because that's surprising they're on the 3rd season already.
Yeah. And so
I feel like we only just watched
it's one of those
that
models
like
that just they're kind of ready to break. So,
and look, with all the different platforms to watch content on, you're going to keep seeing more and more. But I heard somebody at work today was complaining about having to wait a week for each episode to drop on something on one of the streaming services, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's more and more. Even Netflix is dabbling in that. So,
yes, yep.
This mold of drop it all in one shot. I think a lot of the networks are finding there's too much volatility in their subscriptions. The people will subscribe for a month and drop it for 6 months.
The reason Netflix can still do it is they've got such a deep trove of content. So even if somebody just says, "Oh, I'm just going to sign up for a month and watch only this," that could have been somebody
and
did
that's
it
where
after
Disney.
But I'm
was
saying they could
smart
just
at
as well have
saying-
done it after the whole season aired, anyways. So
Yeah, but so that's why Disney. I think, I don't know this to be true, but I'm assuming Disney decided to sell subscriptions for a year and 3 years up front at a discount to avoid that whole conversation. Because we said it at the top of the show, Mandalorian's done, and right now there's really nothing to watch on Disney Plus, and there won't be for a couple months at least.
Yeah.
Dave, when did you go back and cancel your CBS subscription?
Never. I still haven't. I haven't
I
watched
never have.
anything.
Right,
but
and
the
my
short
Hulu
takes.
subscription I
watched-
was supposed to cancel when Handmaid's Tale ended, and I've had it for 6 months without canceling. So
Yeah,
I'm with
So-
you, but
I haven't.
but I was counting it up today.
They're
If
smart
you
about
think
that.
about it,
It's good.
if you've got Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and CBS All Access and Apple Music or Apple Video, whatever they're calling it, and
Apple
Amazon,
Plus.
and HBO Max is coming, and Peacock is coming. That's 8 right there.
Yeah.
So, it is going to get to a tipping point and it's becoming harder and harder to remember which platform each show is on.
The average household spends $21 on streaming services.
Not to talk about your industry too much, but I just called Comcast or Xfinity or whatever you want to call it to renegotiate my bill, which I do semi-annually, and they gave me a better package, and I saved like $40 or whatever like this. But they threw Netflix in there too, and so now my Netflix is through there, and that saved me another whatever. So, but things like that are what deals like that are got to be great for Netflix because, who's actually going to call their cable provider? Who's even going to think about it again? It just becomes like HBO or whatever else. Which is probably great for them. So, and I'm sure I don't know whether they worked that out with you, but I'm sure Disney Plus will be doing something similar. So,
well, they're doing it with Verizon now.
Is that right?
You get
they did it with
if
Verizon.
you have a Verizon account, you get Disney Plus free.
Yeah, if you have Verizon Cellular, they give you 12 months of Disney for free.
Okay, so not unlike the Apple thing, kind of. So that's
similar.
Yeah. So, but with content.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's a Jack Reacher series coming. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but they just announced that on Amazon.
And this is I know you're you've read some of the books though, right, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Supposedly
long before Tom Cruise.
This is
was in
more Jack Reacher than the Jack Reacher movies, which I guess the character isn't. Is it true? I've never seen one of the movies, but they said there's some significant differences between.
Well, the character in the books is like this 6'5" monster, not
that's
a 5'7" Tom Cruise.
But they said they cast to the type of the book. They didn't cast to try to replicate Tom Cruise because, of course, no one can, right, Dave? So
no one can. That's the thing. I mean, how can you replicate greatness like that?
It will be interesting to see. But I might
honestly,
check that out.
Both those Jack Reacher movies are good. Anybody? Barry, you've seen them?
I've not seen them, no.
Really?
No.
They're good. Kobe Smothers is in one of them, and she's in a bra in one scene, if that gets you.
All right, I know what I'm doing after the show.
But no, both of those are good. They're actually... Hey, I'm not saying because it's Tom Cruise, but while he may not be the character, it's an interesting... He's sort of this drifter guy who just doesn't want to be bothered, but he always gets sucked into stuff, So
basically, it's Rambo with.
It's Rambo who's not a little more humanity.
Okay,
a little more people skills.
Did you first blood? Did you first blood? That was my Rambo imitation. Sorry.
Okay,
that's a good one. I haven't seen that new one. That's probably out on HBO at some point.
It's somewhere or nowhere.
Yeah,
I know somebody actually saw that movie, and they might be the one. So.
Let us know if you've got shows that you're interested in. If there's stuff we missed, let us know about that.
Yeah.
What else? Don't forget the T-shirt thing. Shirt up if you want a large or extra large. I'll pick one.
For next week, we'll be talking about Picard.
Picard.
I think we'll all watch I don't think any of us have watched the short trek that precedes that. We'll watch that first. I've actually been on. It's Children of Mars, I think it's called. I've actually kind of been on a Picard blackout. There's a couple more trailery things out there, and there's some.
Yeah, I haven't watched any
some
of them
pictures that are online and.
Ton of press. They did a ton of press. They had like 3 premieres across the world.
I've seen Jerry Ryan in various outfits that she's posting on all the press tours.
Okay,
they seem to be having fun there.
Okay, so I'll look forward to that, and I'm eager to see it Thursday. Is that like, you think that's like Discovery where it drops at like 8:00 at night or something like that? Probably.
I would imagine. I wonder if it's like Netflix where it drops at 3 a.m.
Yeah, but they Discovery, they really made you wait till. Like,
yeah, they made it a primetime thing for Discovery.
Yeah,
so
that's
I bet
true.
They will.
I wonder if it's more like that. Yeah.
So
interesting.
But we shall see.
We'll see. Any last thoughts, Todd?
No, I was still talking about
still on
Picard.
the previous
I was gonna say,
thought.
I would
like-
bet before that series is over, we'll have an air date for Discovery. So,
I would think so.
Let's hope so.
other than that, I have no last thoughts. Barry?
Barry?
Yeah, I've got lots of thoughts, but I'm none worthy of a last thought.
Okay. Wow.
What's that orange amplifier?
That is actually a Fender Blues Junior amp that is made to look old. It's actually a new amp, but it's got aged like yellow. Like if I forget exactly what they call it, all the musicians out there are laughing at me right now because it's, I don't know, it's butterscotch or it's got some name to the vintage looking yellow Tolex, but it's they do a process on it to make it look like it's like 50 years old when it's really kind of like 3 years old.
So you thought the show was wrapping up, and now we're going into our new segment, What's Behind Barry?
I've been
Yeah.
staring at that for a month, and I'm just curious because I know you bought that Ampeg, right? The black one.
The black one is a Roland. Yeah, it's a jazz chorus. Now,
Roland.
that Blues Junior has been up in my bedroom, in my master bedroom, with my Stratocaster for years, a couple of years. When I'm up there, I want to have something to
We
play.
don't need to know more about that. We really don't.
Yeah.
I'm not serenading anybody, but you know,
Hey,
there are times
I
when I'm
kept the
on
mountain
the
bike in my bedroom for 3 months just because I like looking at it. So
when I'm upstairs, I need to have a guitar to play, and that amp is awesome. But I recently brought it down here to actually use both of them. So yeah, things move around.
There you
but
go.
Cool.
Fair enough.
there you go.
That's,
Blues Junior. I'll take a picture of that and put that up on the website too.
that's what's in my amp arsenal.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.